Buddy, welcome. Good to see you guys here on the Diamond Club. I'm gonna let people in. Oh, there's a bunch. We got Robert in the house too. Oh, we got Leah sideways. I like it. Look at that new look. She's vertical and sideways at the same time. Look, how'd you pull that off? All right.
Scroll stop.
What's that?
I said scroll
It's in
stopper.
my car.
All good. Whatever makes it safe. What's up, Robert? Robert, you're here. Welcome. Robert and I had a conversation. He just jumped into the Inner Circle GSD. Congratulations, my man. I'm excited to work with you. And the mirror effect happened. I just posted you on Facebook. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But anyways, we're here live on Facebook, in a couple groups, and some other places, YouTube, maybe LinkedIn, not sure, whatever buttons we checked off for live on. So wherever you're seeing this, hashtag live, hashtag GSD, so we can reach more people. You know the drill. Want to help more people. We're going to share some insider information here, like the minds of a salesperson and the minds of like a struggling and also successful agency owner. Because like I know the emotions in here like kind of come out in the world. Like it's sometimes when we're down for the week, down for the count. When we're up, we have that high swing where it feels really fucking good, right? So we'll get into some mindset stuff on how to get you guys out of that trap. But I want to say welcome to all you guys, Diamond Club. Welcome to the Zoom. You guys excited? You guys look good. You guys are awake. And Fred, it's early morning over there. What time is it, mate? I used the mate in there for you.
It's 9 a.m.
Oh, okay. You're wide awake. You've probably been up for a
Yes,
few hours.
I've already had Zooms this morning. So
Okay, wonderful. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna let people in. Cody, you start rattling.
Yeah, look, Rahul's in here letting people in. He's calling people Diamond Club, saying, "Hey, VIP, all this shit." You're seeing a bunch of beautiful faces on here, and you might be sitting on Facebook wondering, "Well, why aren't I a very important person? I felt important when I woke up this morning, but now I don't feel important because I'm not up there sitting." Right. And then we got people like David and Ricardo who just have these fucking awesome graphics behind them. They're on fire. They're doing good shit. And you're thinking to yourself, how can I do that? Rahul, can you give me screen share ability? Yes. The way that they became VIPs was literally just by signing up for it and joining us in the room. Actually, the first month you get to do just by skipping Starbucks that day. Literally all you got to do. And every single week you get to join us. There's about 20 other people in here right now. You get to join us every single week sitting on these live trainings. Afterwards, we do a very intimate, direct Q&A session where they get to sit face-to-face with us, get live coaching with us, literal high-ticket stuff, just to sit with us, shoot the shit, ask their questions, get it answered. They get a full course that teaches them how to do some organic marketing. They get some templates, scripts, content stuff. They get access to a network, which I think is badass. Every single day I see them in there helping one another. It's 100 and about, I think there's about 200 people now, all in there helping one another, lifting each other up. It's a rising tides lifts all boats situation. So if you would like to be a very important person, if you're sick of sitting outside in the line outside of the club and you want to actually join the club, you want to get past the red tape, you feel like doing that, all you got to do is skip Starbucks today and drop a hashtag VIP, please guys, down in the comments. We will reach out. I will reach out. Rahul will reach out. Ben will reach out. Jason will reach out. Somebody from the team will help you out.
And one more thing, like if you want to get behind the red tape and get the VIP, it doesn't cost bottle service money. It costs Starbucks money. So it's pretty cheap. And these guys are all in here learning stuff. And we'll let them share some wins. If you guys have any wins that you guys have had recently or through this Diamond Club, do you guys mind getting like 2 or 3 shares of your experience so far? I know some of these guys on here are new faces for the first time. So this will kind of like set the segue of like what's in it for the future by staying in long term. Anybody want to kind of volunteer what you've kind of like taken away from here?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'm Fred Gillen from Melbourne. I joined on the $7 thing a couple of months ago, probably 3 months ago when it started. And the information that these two guys deliver is phenomenal. But there's also, as Cody was saying, inside the group, we've made some really great connections. Like I've DM'd a lot of people in the group. They've helped me with a lot of stuff. So it's not just what you get in this session or the VIP session. It's actually a community, and people are real. There's no bullshit in there. It's actually a real community, and I love it. I've moved one of my meetings an hour ahead so that I could actually be here live. So that's how important I see it. So if you're not on it, spend the $7, guys. Get on the gravy train, because that's exactly what it is.
Awesome, man. Love it. And we got Mr. Robert here.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what Fred is saying, is that
it's just a no-brainer. I mean, for the $7 investment, it's that try before you buy, I guess, type of approach. And so far, man, it's been the best thing ever. I'm happy to be in the next level now, upgrading with you guys. And the results have been great because it puts me in the mindset of reaching out to people every day, creating a great program that's generating revenue on a weekly basis. So I love it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. And Miss Jen, what do we got?
Hey, well, I love it here. I'm actually in Inner Circle, but I still pay to be here as well because I don't know, it's just you get to, there's just so much available, and the interaction, I think community is worth every penny on its own, not counting the priceless content and training we get that is really transformational if you apply it. So I love being here. The environment is uplifting. Everyone's really powerful and, focused. And even if they're kind of in the beginning, there's just, when you're around people who are like-minded, it's just that synergy is just as explosive. And not to mention our mentors, hello. So, I just think it's the best deal around.
Awesome. I appreciate that. All right, let's dive into some stuff. Let's get some energy changing stuff. But I appreciate all you guys just volunteering and sharing your experiences so far.
One more time. Hashtag VIP though out there in Facebook land. Like if this shit sounds like something you want to do, I mean, look at the smiles on their face. What's that quote from the
ear to ear, baby?
Ear to ear, baby. That's what I'm saying, right? So if you want to be a VIP person, right? Hashtag VIP will hit you up. We'll get you going. You can come join the family. We have the most fun. I promise you guys. So today, what are we doing? We're doing inside the minds of a struggling agency and how to climb to the mountaintop. What we're really going to do is we're going to go back and forth, I think, a bit between Rahul and myself and shoot the shit about some mindset stuff, about different things that we did along our preliminary journeys, and just kind of interview one another. And just, do what we do best, which is monologues filled with information. I think that.
Yeah, we'll cut it short and sweet just because I want to make sure that you guys get a chance to do a little bit of Q&A as well. So drop your questions in the chat as you go, and you can just raise your hand with those emojis as well. So I'll kick it off. Like, I'm going to start at the end. Now that you're like, you, Cody, are like what, between 12 and 14 years into running your own agency all by yourself, before we met. And then like, how many times did you want to quit along that journey?
Lots. I think one thing that's really important for people to know is that as an entrepreneur, and I've seen this with a lot of our students, and then myself a lot of the times along the way, and I know Rahul, you too, a couple of times, right? Where it's like the thing about being an entrepreneur that's so much harder than a job is the unpredictability. And the reason I think so many people in the world get stuck in that safe place. And what I always tell people out there all the time too, I'd put this on a t-shirt if I was a t-shirt company, right? Comfort is the enemy of greatness. And that comfort is, the stability is just so nice. And when you're an entrepreneur like myself, when I wanted to quit most was a couple of different times when I would lose clients and not have the stability and the predictability yet. Because a long time ago when I first started, it took me a while to actually go out. Now, when I started, it was like 2011 or something was when I launched my agency or something like that. So there wasn't necessarily a shit ton of, there's not nearly as much of a well of information as what you guys have. Let me put it that way. The coaching industry has really, really bloomed over the last like 5 years. So before that, either I was just blind to it or didn't know where to reach out to it or whatever. And so I spent a long time just not knowing certain things that I didn't know, and ended up being where you ride that roller coaster. And I think that's a big part of why I harp on you guys so much lately, especially about, this, right? How you're looking at this and letting it cause you to be so panicky, right? I remember when I first started, and the reason I harp on this so much, when you're chasing higher highs and you're building yourself off of this, when you're doing this, right, you're too high and then you're too low. And I'll tell you, based on experience, both as a business guy and an investment guy and everything else I've done along the way, the lows, if you allow yourself to get caught up in the highs, like on the way up, every little bit of that you allow yourself to feel on the way up, which is too much and hyperbolized, it feels 10 times worse on the way down. So what ends up happening is you make overreactions and you get super upset, you get super sad on the way down, and you don't have a proper objective view of what's going on. Whereas like this, if you just look at it this way, you're doing pretty fucking good. right? Whereas up here, you're riding the roller coaster. And so I preamble this shit with that me and Rahul are going to do monologues back and forth because that's what we do. First question he asked me, I go into a 10-minute monologue, but you get the point. Because what he's saying is like, did you ever feel like quitting? Yeah, fuck yeah. I felt like quitting here, felt like quitting here and here, felt like really quitting here, right? All these times along the way. If we said this was my first, like, say this is like day one and this is year 5, right? Year like 3 to 5, somewhere around there, right? Probably at least 3 or 4 times. And I can remember clearly at one point, because I traveled a lot back then. I remember being in Europe on one of my Euro trips at one point. I lost, I think, a $10,000 a month client or something like that, $10,000 or $15,000 a month worth of clients at one point. And I was like, I'm in Europe, right? I'm going to have to let one of these employees go that was helping me run this account. I don't really have a night and day system where I can just go find another one of these guys, right? And I think at the time too, I did another noob mistake where I was handling their ad spend. So they cut their card off, canceled the contract, and I got stuck with like $10,000 in ad spend. So I lost a $10K a month client, had $10,000 a month in additional expenses that I had, another $5,000 a month gone, right? I still had money coming in. It was still, I think it was at $30K or something a month at the time. But when you've got employees, other shit going on, you take a hit like that, you're halfway across the world. And I don't travel in like 2-day formats. When I used to travel, it was like 3 months at a time and there, 2 months at a time there. So I was gone for a long time. So those were probably, long story short, right? When you're in those situations.
That's a long story longer.
Yeah, here, and here. I wanted to quit. That's the answer.
We're gonna do 1 minute answers from here on out. Okay.
I don't think that's possible. Have you heard you or me talk before? I don't think
I'm just gonna answer it as short as possible. So yes, I wanted to quit 1,000 times, probably more. But the real answer, the reason I didn't quit is number one, learning experiences. When I played sports, that's what helped me a lot. I go back to a lot. That's why I have so many sports analogies. It made my life, even though I didn't go to or finish college, didn't give a fuck about education. I cared about strategy and angles, anticipation. Those are the only things we studied in sports. So whenever our best players, our team captains left our team, we'd be all like, fuck, what are we going to do? But we still had a game. So we go out and play and do our thing. When our strongest link left us, we got stronger because we had to step it up. Then we realized we were too reliant on one individual. So that happened twice in my career where people, or in my youth, where people left that we felt we couldn't survive without. So that kind of prepared me for the business side of not quitting, where it created an environment. So in business, I've lost multi 7-figure like retainers per year, like lots of money, $2 million retainer a year, another $1 million one, a $3 million one. So like big, huge fucking numbers. And these are one clients. When they go, a lot of your people have to go too. But then I just go back to the community and the environment. Because we had a core team. We're like, all right, we lose some people, we'll get stronger together as a bonded unit. But then number two was like my family and my circle of influence, the people around me, they were the outsiders. Those are the ones with the whispers in my ear that had the most influence on life and impact. Those people, if they weren't there to not look at the negative and be like, bro, that sucks. They were like, what's next? How are we going to get you back on the high horse? That was the environment. That's why I don't think about, like I wanted to quit, but it lasts like boom, don't want to quit right there because I have the people and the inner circle that influence my everyday decisions.
Cool. Now, what was because it was interesting what you just said, like, all those different retainers you lost. What was the most painful one and how did you bounce back from it?
It was probably, it was love, hate, and bittersweet at the same time, but it was realtor.com because that was like the first love life, right? The first love of my life in business, because I was unemotional to anybody else. It was like close one deal, in and out, done, never talk to you again. Because we didn't do retainers early on. It was like we're transactional versus repetitive business for the most part. And then we got realtor.com and I'm like, holy fuck, this is an animal. And I remember the one of the top dogs there, I forgot his title. His name is Lee, dope ass motherfucker. I love him. And he told me, he's like, hey, you're going to be fired in 6 months. I'm like, that was amazing that he gave me a 6-month runway. And I didn't want to believe it. It's almost like you're arguing with your girlfriend. You know, it's going nowhere, but then you're like, I don't want to break up anyways. It's comfort. So I didn't plan ahead. I didn't go for more people, more clients, more anything. I stayed in the pocket and I figured I'm so good I can keep it, but that didn't happen. So that was painful. That 6 month, that actually happened. So I had 6 months to anticipate and plan. Instead, I anticipated and plan to keep it versus plan my future. So that was probably the hardest thing in business that I had to deal with, because I had 70 fucking people. And then now I had to go down to 5. Right. So it was like, that wasn't easy. Like saying, hey, I have to cherry pick like who's not coming tomorrow. Because we had a really fun environment. But then I had to go back to like, it's not a personal thing. It's the business has to survive. In order for us to avoid death, we have to do some decisions. So that created a little bit of like, in the future, I learned, hey, that's leadership. You got to do what's best for the company to survive. But that was probably the hardest thing I've ever like felt, because that probably threw me off for probably like a full week. And then I was to get my shit together. Like it was more of like 2 hours of going to a park by myself, crying on a fucking bench with tears dripping, actually like literal tears. And I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? Cry or just get something else? So I'm like, all right, I have to think. I just need my alone time for a week. And then came back, and then I got back on the high horse and rebuilt everything from the ground up.
I think it's super important too to just like hear that, because I think a lot of social media and shit, people can think it's just a highlight reel and everything is always up and up and up and up and up. It's really not, guys, right? Like you just heard 2 horror stories, one from me being stuck in Europe, losing however much of my revenue, and him losing a multi-million-dollar a year thing and going to a park. You have to know that everybody as an entrepreneur goes through this shit, right? I mean, you can see that we're both still here and it went back up, right? But we still have down months every now and then, but it's persistence. I say all the time, like, the real difference, I think, between successful people and not successful people is one, the successful people were willing to just keep getting uncomfortable, meaning they learned to normalize that. And 2, the persistence, the unwillingness for them to just be like, yeah, you punch me, I'm down, but I'm just going to get back up. I don't need to go back to there. I'm just going to get back up. I'm going to keep going. Because I mean, a lot of people would be in that situation where Rahul just described, or I just described, and quit and go back to a job. And then you never would have heard of us. You'd never be in the GSD. You'd never be sitting here with us right now. We wouldn't be able to help people. Right.
Yeah. I mean, just think of like, the simple way to kind of train your mind is like little things, like maybe a movie clip. Like I think about Rocky Balboa. It's like, dude, that motherfucker never went down. So like stupid shit like that changes my state of mind, even though it sounds silly and it could be funny for some people. To me, it's dead serious, because I just need to see that clip, even though I know it's not real, but it also I can make it real in my mind. Right. So it's like little things like just change your whole entire state and trajectory. And like I said, like if somebody wants to be, if I start yawning, some of you guys will start getting tired. Right. So it's like a state of mind, right? Energy can be passed. And I choose to, like, if I'm down, I'm tired, I'm feeling icky, I just still do the thing anyways, because I know once it's done, that's it's greener on the other side. So if it's important and it's a priority, I'm going to do it. If it's one of those, if I do it and nobody in the world, including myself, gives a shit, then I skip it. Right. So it's kind of like just prioritizing tasks, because the one thing I hear is like, this is going to either hit home or sound rude, but it's not to be meant to be offensive. It's to change something. It's like, you can't be out of time and be broke. You can't be busy and broke. Right. You can choose one, but it's like, you can be broke and not have the right priorities. That's okay. Right. And you can be rich and not have the right priorities and work harder. But those are the 2 things that are oil and vinegar. They can't be together. We just need like to pick the right things that are going to move the needle forward. And if you're broke, you need clients. That's it, period. You don't need a fucking snapshot, right? You don't need to go build and build and build, because they're not buying it, period. It's been proven that they're not buying your shit. Go sell stuff, get market influence, get feedback loops. If I build this, would you buy it? If I build this, would this be helpful? If I was going to do this, how much would you price tag it for? That's how I started selling. Like, hey, if I do this thing and I start launching this as a service, like, would you find value in it? Now, like, I'm thinking about pricing it between $2,000 and $5,000. Like, if I was presenting this to you, if it were real, would that be something that you would be like, holy crap, you're crazy? Or like, dude, that's a no-brainer. That's how I got pricing. And then I'd say, hey, I'm going to be building this. It's going to be done in a month. Could I just give you a discount to commit now? Sales come in, right? That's how you can sell before you're ready. And that's how you guys can start thinking, if that was helpful for anybody out there.
So let's talk about this now. I want to know this from your perspective, because I always find this interesting for me, because we're not really mindset people, but we both take good care of our mindset, right? Like, I don't think me and you have been business partners for, I don't know, I keep getting the number wrong, but a while now. And neither of us have ever really burned out or lost our shit or any of that stuff. So knock on wood. Because I think a lot of people would listen to us and think that we're just assholes and ready to break at any moment, but we do pretty good. Really.
Don't put me in the asshole category. Speak on your own behalf.
But so I'd like to know, like, for you, because I think these guys have heard me say my routine a lot. What do you do? Number one, what do you do that actually keeps you from, keeping you mentally stable and keep your mental health up? And two, what do you think your biggest like mindset lesson is that you've learned along the way that's helped you out?
Well, like just a routine. Like if somebody were to stalk me, they know where I'm going to be at every single time. Because like I wake up, that's the first important thing. And then I just do a little, like, I started just doing like some little exercise, a 15-minute routine, gets my energy, my state motion, go for a walk. I keep my phone in my pocket. I actually don't turn it on, even though I have earbuds in, walk straight to Starbucks, drink my coffee, slam it down, do my content. That gets my energy going. And then that's my morning routine. And then in the middle is the day. I prioritize things, got to help the team, get them all ready to go, their pipelines, their follow-ups, their skills, like almost like a coaching program, but for the team. That to me is energy, because like, I mean, I'm going to do this regardless, with or without them. It's just, I have the benefit of the team. So my life revolves around wanting to do this regardless. So that's the first thing. I'm just obsessed with doing this shit. So it doesn't seem like work because I feel like I have to do it, not need to do it. And then the gym. I mean, honestly, the gym, and quite frankly, when I go to the gym, the ripped and really fit people are the most demotivating human beings on the planet, because I know they're so far ahead. The people who are so out of shape. Yeah. The people who are so out of shape, like really overweight, they're especially the older people, like the men, the women that are like 75, just chugging along, sweating like crazy. Like those people are my inspiration, because I'm like, fuck, look how hard you're working. And I know like 20-year-olds that won't even touch the gym. I'm like, those are the people that inspire me to go harder. So I just find inspiration in seeing other people do stuff. And I'm like, I can do it better. And then I challenge myself against them, even though they don't know I'm competing. But I'm like, oh, if that chick can just walk 4 miles an hour, I'm going to run 8.5. Forget her. I'm going to leave her in the dust. And she has no idea I'm doing this in my head, but that makes me push harder. So I kind of create this competitive spirit just in my own mind. And that kind of is my number one driver. Because I feel like if somebody else, if it's possible to be done, I can beat you. That's kind of like how I think in my head.
Love it. Cool.
Yeah, same question right back at you.
I mean, I've talked about what I do a lot. I think all these guys have heard it, but I'll say it one more time. So I have and Rahul knows this. He likes to pretend like I sleep in until like 9:30. I wake up every day, but I don't answer the team. Like the whole team knows, like don't if you can send as many messages and call Cody as many times as you want and do whatever the hell you want. He's not answering you until 9:30. And I tell everybody to set boundaries in your life. That's one thing I've learned at one point. I was like, I build a lot of things and I have a lot of like responsibilities in a lot of the different places. So I learned at some point that my to-do list that I used to really need for my brain to be done, I was like, this is never going to end. So I'm going to prioritize it. I'm going to time block and I'm going to organize my day properly so that I give myself the space to not wake up pissed off and then constantly be just chasing the day from that point on. So I wake up, I meditate on my roof. I'll do some stretches, do a little bit of a brief workout, have a coffee, maybe read a little bit, all for like an hour and a half before I do anything else, before I look at my phone. My worst habit I used to have ever was I'd roll out of bed, I'd look at my phone. And once you get to a certain amount of clients and employees and things you're trying to do, you realize that there's always a fire on the phone. Every day there's something that you're going to have to work on and put out and do something with. So if you want to live the worst life ever and be miserable as you scale your business, look at your phone every morning first thing, because you'll be just the most miserable piece of shit ever, because there's always something negative, and starting your day negative like that is just the worst possible thing. So I spread that out. I do that. And then I do like vitamin IVs. I work out not as consistently as I should, but I'd get a few days a weekend, and then vitamin IVs. And then I go to the mountains. I live near Whistler. I'm up in Vancouver. There's places up in the mountains where you can go and they have like, they take your phone away and they have outdoor like cold spas. Have you guys ever done like freeze baths and that kind of stuff? So they have outdoor hot tubs and then outdoor sub-zero spas and shit out there where they take your phone, and I'll go there right from morning to night once every couple of months. I never think clearer I never have better ideas. I think Rahul's had me text him like entire chapters of a book before where I'm just like, got to do a brain dump, just came out of the thing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, cool. The next day we'll figure out if we're going to do any of this shit. Maybe it's all insane, but it sounds like a great idea to me right now. That kind of stuff to me helps me just consistently decompress, right? Because stress is like a chemical in your brain. There's a bunch of different shit that builds up, and you'll find yourself making worse and worse and worse decisions. You'll find yourself becoming reactive to things. And that doesn't just mean decisions in business, but it also means like temperament with my lady here, right? Like if I'm being snappy, it's usually not because she said something new that was more annoying. It was just because I am now have a much thinner layer of patience because of all the stress I've allowed to build up. And so it can affect, everything in your life that way. So I do try to spend a lot of time and a lot of focus on clearing that all out so that I can think straight and have a higher capacity of thinking.
Yeah, like, and good 1 minute answer. Thank you for that.
Good luck.
But yeah, no, I mean, that think time is so underrated. I mean, I know it seems like a waste of time, but it's because like you do need that think time, honestly, because like what people I see are doing is chasing the fastest thing and then the newest thing. Because if somebody's going to go and jump and become a chat GPT coach and automate some stuff, but then a month before they were doing some other shit and a month before some other shit, like you're never going to get good at the foundation to know the acumen of running the real business. Then you can pivot much easier. But that's why people get stuck so much. Like people who post, oh, made $1 million, and then you actually have a conversation with them. I have no money, right? It's because that shit's either bullshit or it cost you more than $1 million to get to $1 million, or you just fix the fucking operating system. Like Cody does a lot of stuff to take care of IVs and stuff. I'm just more just go to the gym and I'm good. I don't do the other stuff. But the operating system is my body. Once this thing disappears, so does everything else. So I do I let myself go. If you guys see videos of me 6 months ago, you'll probably think I'm 50 pounds heavier than I was now, which is probably around there, which is crazy. But the last 6 months have been back to health, and my energy levels are better. My wake up time is earlier without an alarm clock. My patience is way longer than it normally should be, because normally it'd be like, if somebody doesn't understand the words coming in my mouth, I'm thinking like, what the fuck, am I speaking in a different language? But now I don't have that mentality and impatience anymore with other people. So it helps. Like the operating system is so underspoken about, even though we all know, go to the gym, live longer, eat healthy, live longer. Don't do those things, live shorter, right? And then when it's too late, it's already too late, right? So there is a point of no return. But coming back to the business, those decisions that people need to make inside their own minds is that if I need to go get a coach, go get the fucking coach, right? Because you're going to have a regret. If you need to go to the gym, tie those laces right fucking now and walk your ass outside and walk to the stop sign and back. If you're not tired, keep going. It's those boom, 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 those decisions. We got to be decisive, because you got to be leaders on this group, on this chat, because you guys have committed to the Diamond Club. And those of you guys that are watching out there, you committed to something. I don't know what, but something. So you can make decisions. And it's truly a mirror effect. When I'm hesitant, I attract hesitant people. When I'm scared, I attract other people that are scared. When I'm miserable, I attract misery. It does not like company. It just makes you okay being miserable when you're around other people. It's okay being around scared people because they're consoling you and saying they're there. No, like you got to get into a better environment. That's how, like, imagine if you guys lost somebody that paid you $7 million in 2.5 years and they just disappeared. Like from a business standpoint, had I not have the people around me to get me to that next level, I'm fucked. I'm done. I'm in the gutter. Right. My life goes in a whole different atmosphere or trajectory. And that same holds true. It's just the decision-making cycles, and we got to make them quicker. And then once we make the decision, we make the commitment. Because like one thing that happened, like Robert, if you want to talk about it, that'd be awesome. About even just the commitment. Maybe I had nothing to do with it, or maybe it was something you learned in the last 3 months on the Diamond Clubs. But you attract what you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I talk about it all the time with the agents that I coach, is that, whenever you say that, hey, listen, I'm vibing with that person, right? It's because you're vibing at the same energy level that they are. So if you're vibing with successful people, that's because that's the energy that you're giving out. And it's just with everything that you guys have taught me, my confidence has raised when it comes to marketing, when it comes to promotion. Dude, I'm starting to see people that never did videos on Facebook that they're starting to do it. And then they'll send me a message and they'll say, dude, since you started doing this, bro, you just gave me the confidence to do it. So I'm raising the vibration of even the people around me. So you have a great point when it comes to that.
Yeah, 100%, because you can't put a price on confidence, but you could probably put a price on lack of confidence. Right. So that's important, is being able to get that spirit animal outside of you, so the world knows what you want to be, so you can kind of be that person you need to become. And you do need other environments, because like when we're kids, like we have teachers. Technically, we'll call those teachers mentors. We go to Pay College, there are mentors. Whether you got value or not, that's a different story. Well, if you played violin or musician or the play or sports, you had coaches. When you start a business, the mentality is, I'll figure it out. The fuck does that mean? You won't. And if you do, it's by luck, because 9 out of 10 people got a business within the first 3 years. That's why that data holds true. But if those same people went and got mentors and invested in the money that they didn't have, and then they'd be still, that your favorite restaurant will still be right in your neighborhood. The childhood dentist would still be around, but they're not, because of one thing: they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Right. Okay. Enough motivation stuff. Is that good? Was that motivating? You guys like that? A little bit different of a spin for the Diamond Club. Yeah. Cause I mean, those are really it. I mean, like it's not about the resources. It's about the resourcefulness. That's the most important thing. A lot of people don't have money, yet they come up with the money. A lot of people don't have the skill, but they come up with the skill. I mean, you can put any kind of combo together, and there is always a way. There's always a route to where you want to go. You just have to either buy it or find it or get a mentor that will take you there. That's like the most important thing. So otherwise, like, look at, like, the one question I ask people is like based on what we do, could it possibly help you? Yes. Now, if you were to do this on your own or do it with us, which one would you have more success with? Right. And then you got to answer that question. And the answer I already know is, I'll do it alone, because you know what doing it alone has gotten you to now. Right. So you guys can kind of use that information with your own clients, and also maybe have a talk with yourself too. Okay. All right. Now let's go to some Q&A. Do we want to go straight to Diamond Club right now? Like, cut the stream?
I think let's go to VIP room in just a sec. And again, guys, if anybody wants to hop in the private room with us, I'm constantly forced to do these little infomercials. It's a shameless plug. Drop a VIP. We're going to drive over there in a second. Everybody's going to get to ask us personal questions, but I think let's take one. Anybody got a question they think would be beneficial to anybody out there listening, as well as you guys, that you want us to answer, that has to do with the topic at hand? So specifically, struggles. We're trying to get real today a little bit and talk about, struggling agencies and how you're able to overcome that kind of stuff and scale to the top. Go ahead. I think I see Leah raising her hand. So go ahead, Leah, and then we'll go from there.
It's really funny. It's funny that this is a subject that's coming up now. I just had like a sort of weird self-realization. I've been working really hard at like learning how to put together my package, like my programs, and I've done pretty much everything that I can possibly do that isn't actually selling. Like there's a few tweaks I could make to my website to make sure that, like people don't, have problems buying the things or whatever. But I've done almost everything that I can possibly do that isn't selling. And when the realization of that hit, I learned something about myself. I was really excited at first. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go at this. This is great. And then all of a sudden I got really scared. I'm like, this is weird. And I was like, what's going on? And so I just like sat with the feelings for a while, and I learned something about myself, that apparently I am terrified of success. I am really, really scared of making money. And I'm like, and I sat with, like, I was talking to a friend of mine. how does this make any sense? Why would this even exist in a mind? And since somebody's, I've been working at this for quite a while now. And my friend said it might be like a worthiness thing, because that was his issue, was that he just doesn't feel worthy. Like the idea of getting validation is just like, it's an issue for him. So I've overcome it. I sat with it and I felt it, but like, I don't know, like, I guess my question would be is like how do you like I never thought that was a mental block. I never thought, and not in a million years could anybody have like convinced me that I had this mental block, and that might have been actually stopping me and preventing me from doing things. It's like, how do you see yourself? Like how do you know where things are coming from before, like, you end up spinning your wheels, or like, do you understand what I'm asking?
I mean, I would say it comes down to this, in the sense that, like, first of all, everybody, whether they believe it or not, feels that way, especially in the beginning. And people will do whatever they can to avoid doing the things that they need to do, which comes down to pretty much, I mean, if you read any business book worth its salt, the first thing it'll tell you need to get good at before anything else is selling your damn product and being uncomfortable in selling your product. Because if you can't sell your product, nothing else matters, right? And most people are afraid of public speaking. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of like being told no in general. They're just afraid of negativity in general. And of course you are. That's uncomfortable. There's a reason I keep saying this today, seems to be the repeating theme. Comfort is the enemy of greatness, but comfort is where we're predispositioned to want to be. Right? That's what, obviously you want to be comfortable. And so you avoid the things that are uncomfortable, and it leads to procrastination. Like, if I just maybe tweak this page a little bit longer, this landing page a little bit longer, then when I finally roll it out tomorrow, it'll be perfect. And then tomorrow comes and you're like, oh, well, I mean, the headline's not great yet, so I don't want to roll it out yet. Right? Or like, my offer is not quite perfect, or maybe I could talk to this person, and suddenly it's days, weeks, months have gone by, and you're still sitting there fiddling with the knobs, waiting for the perfection of tomorrow when you're finally going to take that step. And the only way to get through it is to do it. And so you've had the realization. Now it's just about practice, because eventually you normalize it. It becomes a skill, and suddenly you can do it all day. Right. And then you're brushing shit off.
I didn't realize I was doing that.
Mm-hmm. But
I had no idea.
Right. But now you've taken the most important step, which is you've come to a self-realization.
Right? Yeah, awareness is important. Now you're it was buried behind you. It was called the blind spot. You can't see it, feel it, touch it, right? Because that's why it's called the blind spot. But now you have the conscious awareness, right? So now you can solve for that. Because like I talk to a lot of people, agency owners, coaches, consultants, and like some of their sales calls go like this. The clients are like, well, what does it cost? Well, you know what? I think I'd have to sit down and put a proposal together. So number one, they're giving the objection at a hand delivery to the client, even though they know in their mind what it's going to cost, right? They can't even give a range, like 1,000 to 5,000, like in and around there. Where do you land? And then go write the contract that actually could be signed. And then they go back, hammer out 2 hours, edit shit. Okay, 4 hours. I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow goes next day. They're like, oh, well, I feel embarrassed that it's been too late. I'm not even going to send it. Then the client emails. I'll follow up. Oh, what had happened was like I was sick, and then sorry, thanks. I'll have it to you in 2 days. I don't know if that sounds familiar to anybody, but I've done that where I'm like, fuck the contract. I don't want to send it. But then I realized, how long am I going to be sitting here with a fucking piece of paper that I made a template? I can write a contract. I like right now while I'm talking to you, boom, just wrote one because it's already done. I just have to change the price. So now like we just have to be prepared, because like we're giving ourselves like so many excuses in our minds, which we don't know we're giving ourselves those excuses. It's because we're unprepared. And what are we going to do to prepare? It's like one simple change. I don't know what to charge. Why don't you write down what you want to charge? Now you have a price list. And what about the crazy wild thought of not making an assumption for the client saying, well, they won't pay that much. Well, then how are you going to sell that much? And then the other part is have price elasticity. Here's my price of what I want to sell it at. Over here is the maximum I'm comfortable saying above what I want to sell at it. And then the other way is, here's the bottom I'm willing to negotiate. And then you have like that both the up, like, hey, I'm feeling good. I'm gonna confident. I'm gonna get paid what I'm worth and go above what I think they're gonna pay. And I'm gonna say 10 grand instead of 7,500. And they go like, hey, do you have any wiggle room? Like, what do you mean by that? Right. So it's just like getting those little things just on a piece of paper. Like I have a call with like Coach Lee today. She wants to go over our pricing sheet so she can outsource like some of the stuff to us. It's already done. I don't need to prepare. I'm just going to say, here's the pricing. Does that match what you're looking for? Cool. How much margin are you planning on putting on top of the cost? Sweet. All right. When you have projects, send them over. I'll just have a card on file. You order, I bill, you get in 2 days. Done deal.
I
There's
think
a
part
whole
of it was that I didn't really have all the answers to all of those sorts of things, you know, for myself.
Yeah.
And it's actually just being around this. Here's a thing, like, you know, for anybody listening, just being in this group for like the past couple of weeks, like I've gotten to meet so many people and, you know, hear people bouncing all these different types of ideas, you know, like in the room and to each other. And like it's just really changed my understanding of like, you know, how people structure their businesses, how people make offers, and how people do all of these things. So now I have a whole lot more clarity. And so I don't have places to like hide and say, oh, well, you know, I'll just do this or I'll just do that, instead of focusing on, you know, because, well, yeah, because you have to know like what you're willing to price things at. You have to know, you know, your offer, like, you know, you have to know it inside out, you know? And so now there's like this, it becomes less and less and less of places that you can hide and say, well, what are you doing? You know, so that's something that's really been great, being in around GSD in general for me.
Awesome. I appreciate that. That's what we aim to do here is I mean, like, honestly, some people are one question away from being like making no money to becoming a millionaire. You just don't know what question you're supposed to ask because you don't know what to ask, right? Sometimes you hear it and then it prompts it. And that's like the key differential because like, I'm not stupid. I didn't do this alone. Yes, I'm hard-headed and want to figure things out. But I also said, all right, this dude right to my left, he founded stamps.com. He raised $800 million. He knows stuff I don't know. Maybe I can ask him. Right. So like I'm asking the mentors, the biggest and the best, and having like the CEO of Sony Home Entertainment. Shit ain't cheap, but it's cheaper than doing it on my own. Right. So I'm in a 2-hour sit down session in my house with the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar brand that everybody on this call has heard of. The camera that I'm pointing at is a Sony, runs the whole thing, the CEO. I'm like, of course that guy knows shit. So I'm going to go get the shortcut. It's going to sting at first because then I got to pay and do the work. But then it's going to be, I'd rather have that than the regret of another year passing by of saying I should have done that call and now I can't reach the fucker. All right. So those are the kind of there's key points in life where those decisions need to be made. You just got to make them, because not making a decision is also a decision too. Right. Okay, cool. All right, everybody, hashtag live. I'm going to turn the commercial on one more time. Cody, roll it if you want to before we cut the stream.
All right, guys, we are going to a private room where only very important people who chose to skip Starbucks this month want to get to go, where they get to ask us questions, all the questions they want. It'd be very cool. Very cool.
Oh, wait, there's more. We have a limited supply and it's going to be out of stock.
Templates, courses, a bunch of shit that you probably want. But we're going to head over there. If you want it, hashtag VIP down below. We'll get you in. Otherwise, we're going to do some more trainings throughout the rest of the month. Please and thank you. Put your takeaways in the comments, guys. If you thought this was good, we wanted to just get in kind of a talk session today and keep it real, because I don't think there's enough reality being shown on social media enough. So it can't all be the hype train and look at the amazing shit we did. And we do a lot of amazing shit, but there's also some bad times. And I think the light needs to be shined on that a little bit. So hopefully today was enlightening. Some mindset stuff was helpful for you guys. You guys get to see how some people who are successful went through some shit too and had to learn how to get through it. So hopefully that helps you guys out on your journey. Drop your takeaways down in the chat. Drop a hashtag VIP if you want to become a very important person. I didn't know if you know this, but we have the power to make you a very important person. It's pretty cool. So you just got to let us know in the comments. We'll let you in. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Anything else, Rahul? Or are we good? Signing off?
You're the host. You got to cut it.